So let's jump into the IMI Weekly Pulse, which we might have to rename, Don's Needle Update.
So I called on people to actually reach out. I think there's nothing more important. I don't give a shit about how many people are infected. We need the vaccines, and we should focus at least 80% of our attention on how we're doing there. So I took it upon myself for the first time in my life to actually try and have a voice outside of the people that listen to me, and actually went out, spent several hours, tracked down emails, and sent out over 30 specific emails with facts to say, share this news about where we're heading from a vaccine.
Right.
So
this is the first time you've ever done that.
First time ever. From seven editors of the Globe and Mail to the W5 to every single competitive federal or opposition federal party to CTV, CBC, John Tory, Doug Ford. A week ago, right after I got off air, I thought I might as well do something, stop yapping and do something. And the response was overwhelming from these parties. And how many people do you think responded to me?
So you made 20, this is 20, 30, I'm going to be 30. The researcher, 20 different outreaches.
30.
Okay, so if I'm a sales guy, I'd expect 10 replies. And, if you'd hit 100, you would have got one yes. So I'd expect 3 replies and 1/3 of one reply positive. I know that's weird math. So 3.
Anyway, the reality is that I also asked for 15 seconds of their time. Just take 15 seconds, because that's all it would take to read this. 15 seconds of their time. So it wasn't long form. So Eric, to the next slide, will show you the overwhelming response of one person. John Tory's staff got back to me, and they identified clearly they could do nothing, but they also clearly identified what I've been ranting about is the federal government is in charge of acquiring vaccines. That's why we're saying JT should talk about, he says September 30th. Freelance says, I think September 30th. Would you roll the video of Christine recently?
Mr. Speaker, let me remind Canadians of the situation with vaccines. Canada has secured 10 doses of vaccine per Canadian, and we have the most diverse and extensive vaccine portfolio in the world. More than 1.1 million doses have already arrived in Canada. 6 million will arrive by the end of the first quarter, and every Canadian who wants to be vaccinated will be by September.
I love how she says, Mr. Speaker, when she's really saying, go fuck yourself. But you know what I really hate about that video, and I'm going to let you take us through the numbers. Why isn't every politician, she sounds a bit Trump-like when she's saying, we've got the most extensive vaccine program in the world. I don't care about the world. I care about my parents and Canada. Like, who gives a That's not true that I don't care about the world, but why are we bragging we're number 1 in the world? And by the way, you're going to take us through the numbers. I don't believe the things she just said.
So I pronounced her name wrong. I apologize for that, but if she got back to me, which I'll email her right after this, then that'd be great. The reality is, if you look at today's numbers, to get 90% vaccinated, 18 plus, we're looking at August 2026.
No, you're lying to me, because last week you said it was 2024 we'd be done.
Yeah, but we decided that we'd cut our daily doses from 42,000 a day down to, I believe we had a whopping 20,000. And they're not all distributed. So Quebec and Saskatchewan are at 97, 105%. But the reality is we're looking August 2026. I don't care what the number is. It's not September. I wish I could short that number. I wish I could go GameStop and bet on that number. Unfortunately, I wish I'm wrong, but I'd bet a lot of money given what we're doing right now. Do you know that more people were vaccinated yesterday in the US than we have since the start? 1.2 million vaccinated in the US yesterday. One day, we've only done 900,000 to date. And I know they're bigger than us, but they're not that much bigger. Like, I mean, why is there not more news on this? So let's go to the next page, Eric.
Hold on, I want you to stop. Don't go back 1 second. Sorry, I'm screwing up our production, guys. Before you leave this, I want people, you and I are joking around a little bit here, but this is serious stuff. On January 22nd, your math, and I always trust your math over my math, said we would be ready, I think it was March of 2024.
Correct.
In 7 days, we have gotten over 2 years worse. This is monumental. And I will add a little plug, because I'm going to be, you said you're not going to say Trump or COVID for 2021. I'm going to talk Biden-Harris endlessly. They said they wanted to get vaccines up to 1 million a day. They're at 1.2. They're on the way to 1.5 million. It's good for all of us that the United States gets solved. Go ahead to the next slide.
So let's just talk about a dismal 50%. We're looking at September 2024. You can see the Atlantic provinces much ahead of us. The fact that Saskatchewan's having issues because they have no supply. So we have a supply issue, not a distribution issue, a supply issue. I believe many of the doses are not being executed because they need to save the second dose. I'm not sure what's going to go on. It's smoke and mirrors. It's covering our ass. The fact is, even Ford said, we're going to get up to 40,000 a day. Okay, they're getting 11, 12,000 a day, 40,000 a day. Simple math. We need 20 million doses. That's
Talk to me about Alberta.
That's 500 days.
Talk to me about Alberta.
Yeah, they're a little bit behind the 8 ball here, as we all are. It doesn't matter what day it is. They all suck. Nowhere close to September, except New Brunswick, which is September 2021, I believe, if my eyesight's good enough. But the point is, this is a massive issue to get 50% done. If we don't have, there's nothing else. Yes, the second strain, the third strain, the fourth strain, the fifth strain. The only way away from the 27th strain is to vaccinate people. I'm not sure why every news conference doesn't ask them, we have X billion doses. Who gives a shit? What is the plan to get them in the arms? What is the Army plan to actually get them in the arms? Because they're doing procurement, they're doing distribution. We don't talk about that. Why? Because they're afraid of actually letting Canadians know how bad they're doing. They're going to tell us we have to stay in for the next 7 years, but they're not actually talking about what's important.
By the way, Don, in Halifax, they're not staying in for the next 7 years. Our son, who's in university down there, just came off his 14-day quarantine. He went out to the bars the weekend, and I asked him, so, what were the constraints like? It is Halifax, the greatest pub city in the country. So they had a very arduous rule, only 10 people to a table.
Exactly. And they're vaccinating quicker than any part of Canada.
10 to a table. Oh, having it tough down there. I don't have 9 friends to go to the bar with, so I'd be fine. But 10 to a table. How is that a COVID restriction?
So my goal this afternoon is, Tory gave me the link to the 50 ministers or 50, and I'm going to mail out 50 more to see what they go like, or to see if I get 2 responses, because I think I rant about it, I better do something about it. So here's what's going on. So in the current rate, we're going to be August 2026. Now it's down because of supply, but regardless, that's 89,000 deaths will happen after September, the promise period. If we're 2 times as good, we're looking at November 2023. Let's look at 5 times. 5 times is attainable. We've seen that with testing. We still aren't till March 2022. I don't know where they get the September number. We have to be 800% better at procuring and delivering. And if we actually we're 10 times better, actually aspired to be great, we'd save 2,100 lives. And that's taking 50 lives per day passing, which is a lot. Right now we're averaging 155. So I took it way down, not to be too morbid, but at risk right now is at least 50,000 Canadian lives. More lives than were lost during the Second World War. That's how big it is.
That is just unbelievable. And it's lives, it's economy, it's mental health, and yeah, just keep going, man.
Anyway, so I'm gonna push and see if I can get 2 responses. Anyway.
Well, amazing. Let's keep at this every week. I'm begging anybody who's watching the show to speak up and talk to their politicians. I don't mean to burst your bubble that you think you're all famous now because John Tory replied to you. Because if you read that email carefully, it said the mayor's administration. That was so personal loving. Why did it just say dear voter and the mayor? I've never seen an email signature in my life. The mayor's administration.